welcome to another members only video. So this one again is going to be a pretty short one. I wanted to talk about a simple, to the point way to analyze the kind of relationship that you're going to have with your spouse after marriage. And you have to look at two main things. One of them is the Darakaraka, which remember is the planet with the lowest degree in your D1 chart or the natal chart. And you have to look at this, and then you also have to look at the ruler of the 7th house of the D9 chart or the Navamsa chart. If you want to find out more about Darakaraka, I will be linking all the related videos in the video description, so you can find more information there. It's very easy to determine, and I'm pretty sure that many of you who are already on my channel, you know this, and you have already gone through this and probably analyzed it a lot. But in any case, you want to look at what the Darakaraka is doing in the Navamsa, right? So the planet that becomes your Darakaraka, which bear in mind is only calculated based on the D1 chart, because I've had some people ask me if you somehow look at it from the D9 or the D7. No. The Darakaraka, like all the Karakas, are determined based on the placements of the natal chart or the D1 chart, right? The basis of all the other divisional charts. And now you look at this planet in the D9 chart and you see the house placement of the Darakaraka by comparison to the Lord of the 7th house of the Navamsa. So let me give you an example. If, let's say, you have Mars as Darakaraka, and let's say in the Navamsa you have Scorpio rising and you have Venus in the 6th house of the Navamsa. So for Scorpio rising in the Navamsa, Venus is the ruler of the 7th house. And Venus is now sitting in the 6th house of the Navamsa. And now let's say that Mars is sitting in the 5th house of the Navamsa. So this shows that the Lord of the 7th house, meaning Venus in this situation, is basically second from Mars. Or the other way to look at it is the Darakaraka is actually 12 placements from the 7th Lord in the Navamsa. And in fact, this is the main way you want to look at it. So you want to look at the placement of the Darakaraka by comparison to where the 7th house Lord is sitting. So again, in this example that I mentioned, Mars, which is the Darakaraka, would be 12 placements away from the 7th house Lord. Now, technically, this is not a great placement, because if it is sitting, so if the Darakaraka, is sitting 12, 8, or 6 places away from the 7th house Lord, it tends to show things like instability, potential divorce, especially when it's the 12th, when it is, 12 places away, it can potentially show divorce. It's not enough in and of itself, to determine whether there will be a separation. Of course, you want to look at multiple other indicators, but it tends to not be great when you see that they are either 12, 6, or 8 placements away from each other. That's not a good indicator. If you see them being in trines, however, that is a great placement. So if they are basically in the same house, that would be basically as if they are both in the 1st house. It's a so-called trikona placement, right? So if they are one house away, literally both in the same house, or if they are 5 places away from each other, or if they are 9 places away from each other, that's very good, all right? It tends to show harmonious relations, general lack of difficulties, in the relationship, smooth sailing, so to speak. Also, another great placement is if you're 11 places or 2 places, or 2 or 11, actually, those are the best ones, right? Because if they are 6 places away, then it falls in the first category, which is not so great. But if they are 2 places away, so in this example, let's say if you have Venus in the 6th house of the Navamsa as Lord of the 7th house, and the Darakaraka, which is Mars, falls in the 4th house then they would be 11 houses away, right? So this would be a great thing. This tends to show, especially with the 11th house, because this is the house of gains. It shows that after marriage, there will be prosperity because of this relationship. It also tends to show that both people will see an increase in their lifestyle, in their, how should I put it? Their lifestyle, their abilities, like their overall quality of life is going to improve because of this relationship. And also second house, similarly. With the second house, it also particularly shows that there will be more savings, more fixed assets as well in the relationship. And it also tends to show a very stable connection, and material wealth. So the second and 11th placements will especially point towards an increase in wealth as well. And whereas with the trikona placements, which are like 1, 5, or 9 places away from one another, it just tends to show like a, very good camaraderie between the two people. It shows like that there's a harmony, that they are in sync, and they're both moving in the, same direction, so they won't step on each other's toes. In either case, unless it falls like I said initially, 6, 8, or 9 placements away from the 7th house lord, then it's generally a good thing, right? So it would add to the stability of the relationship. If they fall in these particular houses, so like I said, Darakaraka falling 6, 8, or 12 places away from the lord of the 7th house, it tends to become more problematic, like potential arguments, even separation. So the general rule is that 6th house will tend to show more arguments, more conflicts, potential enemies getting, making life difficult for the two of them. That's another thing. Or just competition between the two spouses. With the 8th, it could show a lot of ups and downs, a lot of sudden changes. Well, what's the word? Curveballs, meaning, life just throws unexpected surprises, most of which are not positive. So there are potential also emotional pain as well with the 8th house. So that could show worst case scenario. You could even see some forms of abuse, especially with the 6th and the 8th houses. So with the 6th, it comes from aggressiveness and argumentativeness. With the 8th, it can be more, it can potentially take the form of like psychological abuse or like emotional abuse, things that are heavier somehow emotionally. With the 8th, it could also potentially show that the in-laws are a problem between the two people. And with the 12th, it can also show that there is some kind of a sudden dissolution of the relationship. So either one of the partners could lose interest in the other, or for some reason there might be some kind of sudden loss of the relationship or sudden loss of interest in the relationship, etc., etc. Something along those lines, or apathy between the two people. But yes, this is pretty much what I wanted to say. This is a very quick way to analyze it. Again, bear in mind, I mentioned this in all my videos, that it is only one configuration, so you can't really draw a conclusion based on just one aspect. You have to look at the full horoscope. And of course, with the topic of synastry and analyzing relationships, you have to look at both people's horoscopes, not just one person's horoscope, and see what's going on there in order to, really draw a conclusion. So yeah, this has been pretty much what I wanted to say, and I hope that you will find this useful again. And don't forget to comment in the comment section with anything you would like to share about this. Maybe if you have seen situations like this, if you have experienced these situations yourselves, I would love to hear about your experiences or what you think about this topic. So yeah, thank you once again for joining me in my members only section, and I hope that you will enjoy the rest of the content. Yep, bye.